When you throw dirt on someone who's done nothing to you, don't be surprised when the universe plants that dirt back in your own garden and makes you eat what grows. Now imagine this for a moment. Chosen one. Someone thinks they can keep poking at a sleeping lion, laughing like it's just a game, until one day the lion wakes up. That's exactly what's happening here. These people thought they could mess with you without consequence, like flicking water at a fire and expecting it to go out. But the truth? They didn't put out the flame. They made it burn hotter, and now the heat is crawling right back toward them. Here's a fact you can take to the bank. Psychologists have found that people who intentionally harm or lie about others often project their own guilt and insecurities, and the more they try to hide it, the more it shows in their actions. The universe, it's not fooled for a second. Another fact, karma isn't some vague, maybe one day thing. It's a chain reaction. Every action sets off a ripple, and sooner or later, those ripples find their way back to shore. Right now, chosen one, that shoreline is their life, and the tide's coming in fast. And thank you, chosen one. Don't forget to pay this message back by simply pressing like and subscribe to help spread this message to more souls. It's the responsibility of all of us to spread the light. And thank you for being part of this mission. You are part of a force that doesn't have to shout to be heard, because its impact is felt everywhere. Now let's come back to what's really happening here. This isn't just some small payback. This is the kind of karma that makes people sit up in bed at night and replay every choice they made. These are people who thought they were clever, thinking they'd break you down, thinking their lies, gossip, and petty actions would make them look powerful. But what they didn't understand is this: you weren't just another person they could push around. You were someone the universe had quietly shielded, like a rare gem hidden in a locked safe. And while they were busy trying to break the safe open, they didn't realize there was a silent alarm that went straight to the cosmic authorities. They mistook your silence for weakness, your calm for ignorance, your kindness for naivety. But silence doesn't mean blind, calm doesn't mean unaware, and kindness doesn't mean unprotected. Every time they tried to dim your light, they forgot the universe runs on balance. When you take from someone who has done nothing to harm you, you create a debt. And debts, chosen one, always have to be paid, often with interest. That interest? It's what's hitting them right now. Look at how it's unfolding. Their plans are falling apart piece by piece. The people they used to impress aren't impressed anymore. Their circle is shrinking, their opportunities are slipping, and the very energy they sent toward you is wrapping around them like a boomerang they didn't see coming. You see, karma isn't always loud at first. Sometimes it's slow, quiet, and surgical. But when it lands, it hits with precision, like a sniper shot they never saw coming. And here's the real kicker. Some of them didn't just bring this on themselves. They dragged their friends, family, even people who barely knew you into their mess. Every single one who played a part, even if it was just nodding along, is now feeling the weight. That's why the title of this message is exactly right. Everybody involved is getting karma. Not one is escaping. And now they're wishing, begging that they had just left you alone. So, as we move deeper into this message, chosen one, understand this. You didn't need revenge. You didn't need to lift a finger. You didn't need to fight their way. The universe saw, the universe kept receipts, and the universe is delivering a payment plan they can't get out of. All you need to do is keep moving forward, knowing the same silence they mistook for weakness was actually your greatest protection. So, chosen one, are you ready to walk with me through this step by step? and see exactly how the universe is lining up the consequences for every single one who played a part. Drop a comment with 777 if you can already feel the truth in what's being said. And if this message is hitting home, consider showing love to the team that brings you these truths. Every bit of support, whether it's a word, a share, or a gift, helps keep this mission alive. Your energy fuels this work, and together we make sure more souls hear what others tried to silence. Now, take a breath and settle in, because if you've truly been through the fire they put you through, you'll feel the pull to stay with me until the very last word. Let's begin. Number 1, they thought you were prey. They just found out you're the trap. When you try to bury someone the universe protects, you're not digging their grave, you're digging your own, and you'll be the one falling in first. They thought you were just another easy target, someone they could play with, use up, and toss aside like yesterday's trash. They believed they could spit lies into your name and never taste the bitterness of their own words coming back to choke them. But they were wrong, so wrong, because you were never just someone. You were a trigger point for a law far older, far stricter, and far more unforgiving than anything they could ever imagine. Now imagine this for a second. Chosen one. A thief breaks into a house thinking it's abandoned. No lights, no noise, nothing to warn them. They sneak inside, thinking they're safe, only to find out the walls are lined with motion sensors, cameras, and silent alarms. By the time they realize it, it's too late. That's exactly what happened here. They thought they could sneak into your life, rearrange things, and leave without consequence. But the moment they touched what wasn't theirs, the countdown started. And now, the universe has them on record. Every move, every word, every thought dripping with malice. You see, they weren't just hurting your feelings, they were messing with a force that operates beyond human rules. And here's the thing, whether they believe in it or not, cosmic law doesn't need their permission to act. You were never a regular human target they could bully for sport. You were, and still are, a walking contract of balance. Hurt you without cause, and the universe stamps their name in the book of debt. And debts in this realm, they don't get erased, they get collected. I know some chosen ones might be wondering right now, but why didn't the universe stop them sooner? Why did I have to go through all that pain? Here's your answer: because the universe doesn't waste lessons. Your pain wasn't permission for them to win, it was the rope they used to hang themselves. Every time they tried to humiliate you, they were writing their own bill. And now, the payment is due. They didn't know they were stepping into a test. Every single interaction with you was part of an unseen examination. Were they going to show decency? Were they going to choose fairness? Or were they going to exploit, manipulate, and betray? We both know the choice they made. And now, every person involved in that choice, every gossip, every instigator, every silent bystander who enjoyed watching you bleed, is getting their share of the fallout. It's not a coincidence that their projects are collapsing, their relationships are cracking, and their reputations are slipping through their fingers like sand. That's what happens when you spit at the wind. It comes back in your face. And the cruel poetry in this. They thought they were in control. They thought they were the hunters. But the whole time, they were stepping deeper into a snare set by their own intentions. You didn't have to lift a finger. That's what's killing them the most. They can't point at you and say you did something. No revenge plots, no smear campaigns from your side, no desperate attempts to even the score. You just kept walking, and the silence they once laughed at has now become the most haunting sound they've ever heard. Some of them even feel it physically, the uneasiness in their chest when they remember what they did to you, the tightness in their throat when they hear your name, the sudden misfortunes that seem to shadow them no matter how hard they run. They won't admit it out loud, but deep down, they know. They can't shake the thought, did all this start when I messed with them? Yes, it did. Because the truth is, you were never just a person to be handled or brought down. You were the living embodiment of a law that cannot be bent or bypassed. What they touched wasn't just your life, it was a protected zone. And when you violate that zone, the consequences don't just knock, they break the door down. Now, they're sitting in the same darkness they once tried to throw you into. Only difference, you had the strength to survive it. They don't. They're scrambling, reaching for excuses, blaming bad luck, blaming other people, anything but admitting the truth. And the truth is simple, they should have left you alone. This is the kind of karma that doesn't care if they cry, beg, or promise to change. It's already in motion. The damage is already on its way. And the worst part? Some of them haven't even seen the full storm yet. What they're feeling now is just the wind before the downpour. So, chosen one, let this be a reminder. You were never powerless. You were a mirror. They looked into you and revealed themselves. The good ones passed the test. The rest, they're living in the wreckage of their own making. And as much as they might wish to undo it, the law they broke doesn't have a cancel button. They wrote their ending the day they crossed you, and now they're living in it. Number 2. They took your silence for surrender, but you were just letting them hang themselves. A tiger doesn't roar every time it's provoked. Sometimes it just watches, because it knows the moment it moves, the jungle changes. They looked at your calm face, your quiet steps, your refusal to explode in rage, and thought they'd cracked you. They saw you standing still and mistook it for weakness. But what they didn't know was that every time you didn't respond, every time you let their lies slide without a fight, every time you chose peace instead of public war, you were holding back a force they wouldn't have survived if it was unleashed. Imagine this. Chosen one, someone is dangling over a cliff, holding onto a rope, and you're the one gripping the other end. They're spitting insults at you, throwing rocks in your direction, convinced you won't ever let go. And you don't. At first, because you know the moment you release that rope, gravity will do the rest. That was you. You were holding their rope, buying them time, hoping maybe they'd stop before it was too late. But they kept pulling, kept shaking, kept testing your grip, until finally you stepped back. And the fall they're in now, that's the drop they begged for. Sometimes your silence isn't weakness. It's a loaded weapon you've chosen not to fire. You weren't afraid of what they could do to you. You were aware of what you could do to them. You knew your words, your truth, your receipts, your influence could end their little charade in seconds. You knew that one calculated move on your part could unravel their entire image. But you also knew something they didn't. Power without control is just chaos. You had the power, but you also had the discipline not to use it unless absolutely necessary. That wasn't cowardice, that was sacred restraint. Let me answer the question I know is forming in your mind right now. But why should I have had to hold back at all? Because chosen one, part of your strength is knowing the weight of your own hand. You could have swung, and you would have landed the hit. But you also knew that once you moved, there would be no going back. Sometimes restraint isn't about sparing them for their sake. It's about not allowing their chaos to dictate your actions. You weren't protecting them because they deserved it. You were protecting your own frequency, your own peace, your own alignment with the law of balance. Mercy isn't given because they've earned it. It's given because you have nothing to prove. Now, here's another way to see it. Imagine a dam holding back millions of gallons of water. On the other side of that dam are towns, fields, entire lives that could be wiped out in minutes if the wall gave way. You were that dam. Every insult, every betrayal, every smear campaign, it was water building up behind you. And instead of letting it rush out and drown them instantly, you held it back. Not because they were worth saving, but because you knew the universe would handle it in its own way, in its own time, without you ever having to break your hands on the wheel. But here's the thing, they mistook that control for softness. They thought your refusal to fight on their level meant you couldn't fight at all. So they went harder, louder, crueler, and all the while you were the pause, the break between action and consequence. The only reason the storm didn't hit earlier was because you were standing in between them and the punishment they were begging for. Your silence wasn't their victory, it was their warning shot. Every time you walked away, they thought they'd won, but they didn't know that your departure was the signal that the real battle was about to begin. Only this time, you weren't the one fighting it. You stepped out of the way, and the universe took your place. Now they're discovering the difference between your version of consequences and the universe's version. Yours would have been sharp but clean. The universe's version, it's slow, layered, and inescapable. It doesn't just take their pride, it takes their comfort, their stability, their fake sense of control. And chosen one, that's why you can stand here today without regret. You didn't lose anything by staying quiet. If anything, you gained the satisfaction of watching the very people who laughed at your silence now choking on it. Their boldness is gone. Their fake confidence has collapsed. The same voices that were so loud when you were silent are now trembling, whispering, avoiding your name like it's cursed. The calm before the storm isn't empty. It's loaded with everything the storm will unleash. When they look back now, they'll see that you weren't weak. You were the shield between them and the full force of what they called down on themselves. And once you stepped aside, that shield vanished. That's why this karma they're facing isn't random bad luck. It's the exact accumulation of every push, every provocation, every moment they disrespected the sacred boundaries of your spirit. You weren't the storm, you were the barrier holding it back. And when you finally moved out of the way, they got to meet the very force they'd been mocking, testing and tempting all along. Now they're paying in ways they can't hide. Their health is cracking under stress. Their relationships are turning against them. The people they thought would always be in their corner are slowly stepping away, not wanting to be caught in the fallout. This isn't just life teaching them a lesson. This is the universe sending them a bill with every receipt attached, making sure they feel the cost of every single choice they made when they thought you were powerless. And here's the most brutal truth of all. Deep down, they know you could have ended them long before karma arrived. They know you had the truth, the proof, the power to dismantle their lies instantly. They know you gave them more chances than they deserved. And that knowledge, that's eating them alive more than any outside consequence ever could. Because they realize now, the silence they mocked was actually the mercy that saved them from a faster, sharper ending. But mercy has an expiration date, and when it runs out, the ones who mistook it for weakness get to find out exactly why they should have left you alone. Number 3. They tried to steal your soul's signature. Now the bill is in their name. You can steal a crown, but if it wasn't forged for your head, it will crush you instead of crown you. They didn't just betray you, they reached for something the universe never put within their reach. This wasn't petty theft of time, money, or attention. This was the attempt to copy, counterfeit, and hijack what was sacred in you, your spiritual identity. They didn't want to just stand beside you, they wanted to be you. They studied your walk, borrowed your words, mimicked your style, and thought they could wear your essence like a costume. But here's the truth. What's in you isn't for sale, and it isn't transferable. It's encoded into your very being, like a spiritual fingerprint the universe instantly recognizes. Imagine this, chosen one. Someone sneaks into a vault, thinking they can snatch a priceless gem. They get away with it, or so they think, until they find out the gem is designed to release a tracking signal the moment it's touched by the wrong hands. That's what happened here. The moment they tried to carry what was never theirs, they triggered a customized karmic response, not generic consequences, tailored, precise, and impossible to outrun. Psychologists say envy often drives people to destroy or absorb what they can't create. That's why these people pretended to admire you, all the while plotting to drain you. They wanted your gift without paying the price you paid to carry it. But the thing about spiritual theft is this. It's like trying to download a program without the right operating system. They thought they could run with your power, but instead, it's crashing their whole system, mentally, emotionally, financially, even physically. They thought they could trick the universe, but spiritual roles can't be stolen, they're assigned. And when you try to force yourself into a role you weren't built for, the weight of it will destroy you. That's why they're walking around confused, paranoid, unstable. Every fake compliment, every manipulation, every attempt to siphon your light has come back with interest. Karma always charges full price. They didn't just lose, they inherited burdens they can't carry. You didn't have to lift a finger. The energy they tampered with became their own undoing. Because when you steal from the sacred, you don't just fail. You get audited by the universe, and that audit is never gentle. Number 4. They tried to shatter your image, but the glass cut their own hands. A lie can travel fast, but when the truth catches up, it doesn't knock. It kicks the door off its hinges. They were so sure they could erase you. They thought all it would take was a few well-placed whispers, a poisoned word in the right ear, and the damage would be done. They didn't just want to wound your name. They wanted to erase it from the room before you even walked in. But here's the mistake they made. In trying to break you, they broke their own reflection. Picture this, chosen one. Someone throws a rock at a mirror, thinking it'll erase the reflection inside. Instead, the glass shatters, and every shard points straight back at them, multiplying the image of the attacker for all to see. That's what happened here. The more they aimed to smear you, the more the universe angled the light so everyone could see exactly who was holding the paintbrush. They didn't just gossip, they performed. Every lie was a scene, every fake smile was a costume, and for a while the audience clapped. But performances get tired when the script doesn't match reality. People start noticing the cracks. They remember what they saw with their own eyes. They start asking themselves, if what they said was true, why doesn't it add up? And slowly, one by one, the crowd stops believing. What they called destroying your name was really a confession of envy, of insecurity, of the discomfort they felt just knowing you were in the room. Your presence alone reminded them of every corner of themselves they refused to face. They wanted your absence, not because you wronged them, but because you were living proof of what they'd never become. And now, The energy they aimed at you has turned around like a boomerang. The same mouths that were eager to hear lies about you are now repeating truths about them. The same hands that clapped for their stories are now pointing at their mess. And the stage they built to mock you has become the place where their own downfall plays out in full view. You didn't have to fight for your reputation. You just had to stay consistent, stay grounded, and let time peel away the mask. And now the world sees they didn't tarnish your name, they only exposed their own. Number 5. They thought they shattered you, but they just hit the switch on your war mode. Some wounds don't close you off, they open doors you never knew existed. They were so sure the hit they dealt would be your final chapter. They thought the betrayal would drain you dry, that the loss would keep you crawling, that the trauma would turn you into a shadow of yourself. In their heads, they saw you folding in on yourself, retreating into silence, disappearing from the game entirely. But here's what they didn't know. Chosen ones don't break the way ordinary people do. Pain doesn't destroy us. It rewires us. Imagine this. Chosen one, a priceless artifact, lies hidden in the earth for centuries, covered in dust, untouched. Then one day, a storm rips through the land, breaking the ground open, and the artifact is revealed in all its glory. That storm, that was your betrayal, your heartbreak, your dark nights. They thought they were burying you deeper, but they were just cracking the shell that hid your power. Science says pressure creates diamonds, and ancient warriors knew trials forged unshakable leaders. That's exactly what happened to you. Every sleepless night, every tear, every moment you felt alone was like a code being typed into your spirit, unlocking something buried deep in your DNA. A memory of who you've always been, not just in this lifetime, but in the core of your existence. They thought they'd silenced you, but they actually handed you the map to your higher self. You started seeing differently, patterns, motives, lies that others couldn't spot. You started moving with precision, speaking with authority, carrying yourself in a way that made people stop mid-sentence. This wasn't just healing, this was activation. And here's what terrifies them now. You're not coming back as the person they knew. You're sharper, more strategic, fully guided. The same storm they thought would sink you ended up clearing the path ahead of you. New doors are opening. Dead weight is gone. People you never expected to help are showing up. And all the while, the ones who wanted your downfall have no choice but to watch. They didn't break you. They broke the illusion that you were ever powerless. And in doing so, they released a version of you that moves like it already knows where it's going. They can't explain it, but they can feel it. And it scares them. Because now, chosen one, you're not just surviving. You're untouchable. Number 6. This isn't misfortune, it's the bill for crossing a protected soul. The universe doesn't take revenge, it takes inventory, and when it's done counting, it sends the invoice to the exact address it's owed. What they're living through right now isn't a streak of bad luck. It's not just life or some random rough patch. It's the exact itemized payment for a spiritual crime they thought no one witnessed. Every sleepless night, every sudden loss, every door slamming in their face is the receipt for violating someone they should have never touched. You. Imagine this, chosen one. Someone keeps using a credit card they don't own, thinking no one's tracking it. They buy, they take, they enjoy, until one day the bill arrives with interest and the name on the account is theirs. That's karma. The charge is crossing a sacred being. The interest is the suffering they're in now. They treated your loyalty like it was cheap. They handled your love like it was replaceable. They fed off your spirit like it was a buffet they could keep coming back to. But here's the fact they never saw. You were marked. Not marked for ego or spotlight, but for impact. For the kind of energy that shifts rooms and makes darkness uncomfortable. And when someone crosses that kind of soul, the universe doesn't warn twice. They thought your patience was weakness. It wasn't. It was grace. Grace you allowed them to drain until there was nothing left. And when you finally stepped back, that grace stepped back with you, leaving them exposed to the consequences they laughed at. Now it's not you they're fighting. It's the weight of every lie, every manipulation, every backhanded move they swore would never come to light. What's hitting them now is precise. This isn't some emotional backlash. The universe isn't petty, it's exact. It remembers, and the moment you removed your presence, it removed its protection. That's why their life feels like it's unraveling in ways no amount of affirmations, distractions, or fake positivity can fix. Their karma isn't random. It's not bad timing. It's accountability. They didn't just hurt a person. They violated something sacred. And when you break that kind of law, the payment isn't negotiable. The debt is due. And this time, there are no extensions. Number 7, they smirked at your fall. Now they're choking on your rise. Laughing at someone on the ground is easy until they stand up taller than you've ever been. They thought your lowest point was your ending. When you were struggling, misunderstood, and stripped of everything familiar, they treated your pain like it was prime-time entertainment. Every stumble was a punchline. Every silence from you was a green light for them to talk louder. They nodded along to gossip, swapped ugly jokes behind your back, and felt bigger watching you shrink. To them, your loss was proof they were above you. But here's what they didn't realize. You weren't losing, you were loading. The breakdown they celebrated was the foundation being cleared for a rebuild they could never stop. The universe doesn't rush transformation. It lets the betrayal, the loneliness, the quiet strip away every false layer. So when the rise happens, no one can call it luck. Now that rise is here. You're moving with a power they can't explain. Doors are swinging open in places they swore you'd never get near. Opportunities that should have taken years are appearing out of nowhere. And it's driving them mad. Not because you're shining, but because your shine makes their mockery look like the cruelty it really was. Imagine this, chosen one. Someone laughs at a seed buried in the dirt, convinced it's dead, only to come back months later and find it's grown into a tree that blocks out their entire view. That's you. While they were mocking, you were rooting, and now your growth is the shadow they can't escape. Here's the truth they can't shake. Your success isn't just personal victory, it's evidence. Evidence that they misjudged you, underestimated you, and bet against someone who was never finished. They weren't just haters, they were active characters in the chapter of your life that now makes your comeback hit harder. And deep down, they know it. They feel the guilt, the unease, the fear of what it means to have mocked someone who was being protected, prepared, and positioned the whole time. They thought they were watching you get buried, but they were really watching the soil being turned for your bloom. Your elevation doesn't just shut their mouths, it documents who was laughing when they thought you were done. Now the silence from their side isn't just quiet, it's deafening. Number 8. They buried lies in the dark. Now they're harvesting shame in broad daylight. When you plant poison, don't be surprised when the roots break the surface and choke your own garden. They thought they were untouchable in the shadows, whispering low, twisting twisting truths into something unrecognizable, passing their version of events from one ear to another like a secret too clever to be traced. They believed that if they moved sly enough, if they stirred the pot behind closed doors, the mess would never touch them. But they forgot one thing. Energy doesn't just disappear. Every seed grows, and nothing stays buried forever. Imagine this, chosen one. Someone buries a handful of seeds in a hidden corner, certain no one will see. They water it in secret, smiling to themselves, waiting for it to sprout. But when it finally breaks the surface, it's not flowers. It's weeds, sharp and invasive, pushing into places they never intended for everyone to see. That's their lies. That's their betrayal. What they planted to damage you has grown into something that's swallowing their own life. You didn't have to call them out. You didn't have to run from person to person defending yourself. The truth has its own heartbeat, and once it wakes up, it moves on its own. The same mouths they used to spread falsehoods are now questioning them. The same people they convinced to turn on you are looking at the cracks in their story and realizing it doesn't add up. The beauty of this karmic exposure is in how precise it is. No public battles, no screaming matches, no petty revenge, just a quiet, perfectly timed unveiling, the same way they planted their deceit in silence. The universe is revealing it at full volume, publicly, clearly, and without a shred of confusion. That's what's breaking them. It's not only that they're being exposed, it's that it's happening without you ever getting your hands dirty. And as you rise, steadily, peacefully, undeniably, your growth shines a harsher light on what they tried to keep hidden. Your stability exposes their chaos. Your peace reveals their insecurity. Your consistency turns their lies into obvious fabrications. They planted betrayal, and now they're harvesting exposure. Only this time, the audience isn't laughing with them. They're watching them unravel. And the part that stings the most, they're the ones who sowed it. And now the whole world is watching them reap. Number 9. They waited for your collapse. Now they're the ones in pieces. When you dig a hole for someone else, you don't just risk falling in. Sometimes the ground gives way beneath you first. They didn't just want you to stumble, they craved it. Your pain was their entertainment, your setbacks their proof that they were somehow better, sharper, untouchable. They circled your life like vultures, waiting for the moment you'd stop breathing in your fight, convinced they'd get to feast on what was left. When you went silent, pulling back to heal, they mistook that pause for your permanent end. But what they didn't know was that silence wasn't your surrender, it was your incubation. You weren't breaking, you were reforming. Piece by piece, you were becoming something they'd have no defense against. They couldn't recognize that your very existence unsettled their illusions. You didn't have to flaunt your strength. Your presence alone disrupted the lies they clung to. And when they came for you, they weren't just attacking your humanity. They were striking at a force they couldn't define, let alone defeat. Now, the shift is here. Every ounce of poison they aimed at you is dripping back into their own cup. The job losses, the broken relationships, the restless nights. It's not coincidence. It's the return on the intentions they sowed. The same energy they pushed out is circling back like a homing missile. Imagine this, chosen one. A storm they sent in your direction somehow missed you entirely and is now flooding their own house. That's exactly what's happening. While you rise from the rubble they tried to bury you under, they're tripping over the debris of their own making. And the cruelest part for them, the very trials they celebrated in your life became the blueprint for your transformation. What they thought would kill you ended up refining you, giving you an armor they can't pierce. Now, standing in your renewed strength, you're a living reminder of their weakness, and they can't unsee it. This isn't pettiness. This isn't revenge. This is balance, the universe returning everything to its rightful owner. You were never destined to remain broken, and they were never going to walk away untouched. The collapse they prayed for in your life is now erupting in theirs, loud, messy, and undeniable. Not because you asked for it, but because they built it with their own hands. Number 10. Their sorry can't unsend what they already delivered. An apology may ease their conscience, but it won't erase the invoice the universe already mailed out. They had chance after chance to turn back, subtle warning signs, gut-deep hesitations, dreams they couldn't shake, that eerie resistance in the air when they plotted against you. Their own spirit whispered, "Don't do this." But pride is a dangerous driver, and it pushed them straight past every caution light. Now that the storm they summoned is pounding on their own door, here they come. Awkward messages, shaky voices, sudden concern. But this isn't repentance, it's panic. They're not sorry for the wound they gave you. They're sorry because the cut they made is bleeding into their own lives now. It's not empathy driving them. It's the fear of the bill coming due. And the problem for them is this: karma isn't fooled by performance. It doesn't care about well-worded texts or teary phone calls. It reads energy. It remembers intention. It plays back the moments nobody else saw, when they laughed at your pain, manipulated your kindness, or pushed you further just to watch you crack. Imagine this: chosen one, a thief breaking into a house, setting off alarms, and then thinking they can stop the police by mailing the homeowner a letter that says, "Sorry." That's exactly how ridiculous their attempt is. Some doors, once opened, can't be closed on command. Some systems, once triggered, won't stop until the process is complete. They assumed time would dilute their actions, that if they ignored it long enough, it would fade away. But spiritual law doesn't have an expiration date. Every offense was a seed, and those seeds are flowering now. Not because you cursed them, but because the system they mocked finally decided it's time to harvest. Now they want your forgiveness, not because they value it, but because they think it will silence the consequences. But this isn't your battle anymore. This is the ledger balancing itself. They gambled with sacred energy and lost, and now the fallout isn't optional, it's scheduled. Number 11. They threw energy like a weapon. Now it's coming back, sharper than they sent it. When you hurl a blade into the wind, don't be surprised when it spins and finds the hand that threw it. They treated energy like a toy, something they could twist, aim, and fire without consequence. They thought if they stayed calculated enough, gaslit you just right, and masked their cruelty behind a calm smile, they could get away clean. They saw your silence and called it weakness, your empathy, naivety, your loyalty, foolishness. But what they didn't count on is the oldest truth in existence. Energy doesn't vanish, it travels, and eventually, it comes home. They knew where you were tender. They took those wounds and turned them into blueprints for manipulation. They pressed on every soft spot, not to heal it, but to keep you under control. And because you didn't retaliate, they mistook your restraint for inability. What they didn't see coming was the moment you stepped away, removing yourself from their reach entirely. You didn't swing back. You didn't smear their name. You simply left. And that's when the boomerang began its return. Now, every lie, every whispered insult, every smirk behind closed doors is finding its way back to them. And here's the part that's tearing them apart. They don't have your grace to carry it. you took their blows in silence, rebuilt yourself in the dark, and still walked out with your heart intact. But now they're tasting just a fraction of what they fed you, and it's splitting them at the seams. Their mind won't rest. Their relationships are collapsing under mistrust. Their peace has been replaced by the same gnawing anxiety they once tried to plant in you, and unlike you, they weren't built to endure it. This isn't random misfortune, it's correction, the law of return at work. Not as petty payback, but as perfect balance. Because here's the truth, chosen one. Sacred energy doesn't just bounce back the same way it left. It comes back heavier, sharper, undeniable. And when it lands, it always lands harder on the hand that dared to misuse it. They weren't built to carry what they tried to load onto you. And now, they finally know it. Number 12. They thought they could handle you. Now they're living with what they woke up. You don't just walk into sacred space with dirty hands and expect to leave untouched. Back then, they thought you were harmless, software forgiving, the kind of person they could drain, discard, and revisit if they ever wanted more. To them, you were an easy mark, quiet enough not to fight back, kind enough to keep giving chances. What they didn't realize was that beneath that calm exterior, you carried something ancient. You weren't just nice. You were guarded by a force they couldn't see, a weight they couldn't measure, a law they couldn't escape. When they crossed you, they didn't just mistreat a person, they mishandled sacred authority. They stepped into a spiritual zone they had no clearance for, and now the laughter they once had at your expense has rotted into restless nights, inexplicable setbacks, and a gnawing unease that clings to them everywhere they go. It's not guilt. Guilt would require honesty. This is something deeper. It's a primal knowing that they crossed a line they can't uncross. No matter how far they run, it follows. The air feels heavier. The silence feels louder. And the worst part, they can't explain it away. Every financial block, every crack in their relationships, every sudden spiral in health or peace, none of it is random. It's the chain reaction of mishandling what was never theirs to touch. They walked into sacred territory with arrogance, and the energy there doesn't just forgive because you say sorry. It reacts. It mirrors. You didn't need to seek revenge. The energy you carry already knows how to defend itself, and that's what's haunting them. Not the memory of what they did, but the realization of who they did it to. You weren't just a person in their path. You were a mirror, a test, a divine checkpoint. They failed badly. Now, the same force they mocked is making them feel everything they made you feel. And because they don't have your resilience, it's breaking them. Sleep escapes them. Peace rejects them. Every room they enter feels smaller. Every future they try to build feels unstable. They're not haunted by ghosts. They're haunted by the cost, by the living proof that you were never ordinary and that touching you without respect was the most expensive mistake they'll ever make. Number 13. Their greatest punishment, knowing they'll never touch you again. Some doors don't close, they vanish, and the ones who mistreated you will spend the rest of their lives searching for where it used to be. They thought pushing you out meant they'd won. In their minds, you were disposable, a backup plan, a resource they could tap whenever it suited them, a safe harbor they could disrespect and still expect to return to. They couldn't see your worth because their ego was in the way. You weren't just a presence in their life, you were grace in human form, loyalty, healing energy, protection, all wrapped in a soul they couldn't comprehend. But instead of honoring that, They treated you like you'd always be there, no matter how many times they crossed the line. The truth? You were the blessing they didn't know they were living under. When you were around, doors opened for them that wouldn't have otherwise. Opportunities seemed to just appear. Peace followed them in ways they'd never experienced before, but they mistook it for luck, or worse, they credited it to themselves. They didn't realize it was you, and then, without warning, the energy shifted. You stopped answering. You stopped explaining. You stopped making yourself available. No fight, no revenge, just silence, distance, and a door they can't find anymore. That's the punishment. Not that you walked away, but that they'll never be able to walk back in. Now they're in rooms that feel heavy, where opportunities slip through their fingers and relationships crumble under their own weight. They can't name what's missing, but you can. It's you. The energy you carried was a covering, a shield, a key, and they lost it the moment they treated you like an option. The most brutal part, they have to watch you rise. They see you stepping into blessings they can't sabotage, circles they'll never enter, and conversations they'll never hear. And deep down, they know your elevation is the undeniable proof of what they tried to deny, that you were never beneath them. You were always operating above their level of intention. There's no re-entry, no reset. That access expired the moment they played with what was sacred, and now their karma is lifelong, watching you thrive, untouchable, unbothered, unreachable, knowing they once had access to you, and treated it like a joke. And so, chosen one, every moment, every trial, every betrayal we've uncovered leads to this truth. What they meant for your downfall became the blueprint for your rise. Their actions wrote their own ending, and your survival rewrote yours. You're not just standing, you're standing untouchable. If this message spoke to you, drop the number 77 in the comments to let me know you're part of this movement. Like this video, subscribe for more, and share it so other chosen ones can find their strength. Together, we spread the light they thought they could put out. Your rise is their reckoning.